Now let me clarify. I'm not talking about tiresome arguments here. I'm talking about tired arguments. That is, they have been refuted over and over again in always the same ways, and they keep getting trotted out like utterly irrefutable, overwhelming polemics. These arguments are tired. They are asking to be allowed to rest. You can't disprove Christianity. It's always a little funny whenever a believer trots this one out. First, let me show you what this argument sounds like to me. We know from John 10 verse 30 that God the Son is one with God the Father. This means that God is simultaneously the Father and the Son. Therefore we know that God is simultaneously his own only child and his own single parent. This means that God is simultaneously his own Father and his own Son, and therefore also his Father's Father and his Son's Son. The Father who's the Son is the Father of the Son who's the Father, and the Son who's the Father is the Son of the Father who's the Son, and somehow accepting this helps you to differentiate between right and wrong. For God so loved humanity that he impregnated a woman with himself, so that he could be born into the world he created in the first place, to grow up, to be sacrificed to himself, because it was necessary for him to punish himself in order to appease himself enough to persuade himself to forgive the people he created in the first place for behaving in accordance with the sinful natures with which he endowed us in the first place. Up there on the cross, he cried out to himself to ask why he had forsaken himself, and to beg himself to forgive these people, for they knew not that they sacrificed him to himself. Then he died, spent the weekend away, rose from the grave, and descended into heaven to reunite with himself, and to spend the rest of eternity sitting at his own right hand. We Christians know in our hearts, livers, and intestines that a cosmic Jewish zombie who is his own father can make you live forever in a world with neither flesh nor blood if you symbolically eat his flesh and drink his blood and telepathically tell him that you accept him as your master so he can remove an evil force from your soul that is present in all of humanity because a rib woman was convinced by a talking snake to eat from a magical tree. You atheists know damned well that you can't disprove any of that. That's what this argument sounds like to me. Now let's take a moment to consider the reasoning behind it. I will accept Christianity until it is proven false. Is that a reasonable approach? Is it wise, rational, or even practical to accept a position until it is proven false? If so, then what you are saying is that you will believe anything until it is proven false. I will accept Islam until it is proven false. So you are going to be both a Christian and a Muslim? I will accept Judaism until it is proven false. So you're going to be Jewish, Christian, and Muslim? Well, that'll ruin your weekend. I will accept Mormonism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, Wicca, Jainism, Animism, Shintoism, and ancestor worship until these are proven false. At this point, if you insist upon accepting a position or a claim until it is proven false, you are trying to be a Christian, Muslim, Jew, Mormon, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, Zoroastrian, Wiccan, Jainist, Animist, and ancestor worshipper all at once. But wait, there's more. Those who do not demonstrate their acceptance of the existence of Thor with the occasional offering of ram's blood, after they die, will spend eternity wallowing in the underworld. Only Hindus get to be reincarnated in a better form. Or is it Buddhists? Only atheists go to heaven because God doesn't like to be surrounded by brown-nosers. There is no heaven, only a hell. But if you're good, before he sends you there, God makes you a masochist so that you will enjoy it. 2 plus 2 equals plaid. Are you going to accept all these claims until they are proven false? Is further illumination really necessary? Look, can you prove there's no Jesus? Can you prove there's no God? Can you prove there is no flying spaghetti monster, great magic turnip, great transcendent radish, great plaid ninja, or gay pride Darth Vader? What's the rational approach to take here? To accept the existence of something until you are shown evidence against it, or to reject its existence until you are presented with evidence for it? Reality is internally consistent. That is, it does not disagree with itself. Therefore, if two claims about what is real are in disagreement, they cannot both be correct. If two claims about what is real are in disagreement, every piece of evidence in support of one is evidence against the other. This, however, does not mean that every piece of evidence against one is evidence in support of the other. If two claims about what is real are in disagreement, it means they cannot both be correct. In this case, either one is incorrect, or both are. Given the fact that the vast majority of claims in the world disagree with other claims, one can conclude that the vast majority of claims in the world cannot be correct. Therefore, when presented with a claim, it is much more likely the one than the other. Therefore, in order to justify the act of accepting that claim, one must have evidence that shows that one claim to have a higher likelihood than any claims with which it is in disagreement. To do otherwise, to insist upon accepting one body of claims until it is proven false, while rejecting all incompatible claims until they are proven true, is to engage in special pleading. Given the human knack for duping ourselves, the wisest thing to do with a claim is to scrutinize it in search of places where the reasoning in support of it breaks down, unless of course you have already done so. The claims in the world that are worth accepting are the claims which first lend themselves to scrutiny, and second hold up under it, at least better than other claims in the world with which they are not compatible. So if it's true that I cannot disprove Christianity, and if it's relevant, then it is likewise relevant that the Christian cannot disprove Islam, Buddhism, animism, or ancestor worship. But even setting that aside, I can disprove Christianity. You can prove one claim false by proving an incompatible claim true. Therefore, any claim which is incompatible with itself is self-refuting. Christianity is predicated upon such a claim. Let me show you. If a being is all-powerful and can therefore do anything, then he can make anything, and he can lift anything. There should be nothing I can conceive of that he cannot create or lift. If that being can create anything, then anything can exist. If that being can lift anything, then anything can exist that is not too heavy for this being to lift. If he can create anything at all, then he can create something so heavy that even he cannot lift it, which means that there can in fact be limits to what he can lift, which means that there are limits to what he can do, which means he's not all-powerful. If, on the other hand, he can lift anything, then it is not possible for something so heavy that he cannot lift it to exist, even if he creates it, which means there are limits to what he can create, which likewise means he's not all-powerful. If he can create anything at all, then he can create a being more powerful than he, which means it is possible for a more powerful being to exist, which means he is not all-powerful. If, on the other hand, it is not possible for a more powerful being to exist, then it is not possible for him to create such a being, which means there are limits to what he can create, which likewise means he is not all-powerful. Therefore, an all-powerful being cannot exist. Therefore, any religion which depends on such a concept cannot be correct. That accounts for Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Mormonism. This argument has been utterly refuted countless times. Christians, please, have mercy on the poor thing and let it die.